Up next, the Highlanders of UC Riverside take their shot at the first place Hawaii Rainbow Wahine. And let's start things off by taking a look at the Kaiser Permanente keys to the match. Chris, what do you got?
Well, for Riverside, they've got to hit high. They've gone up against a big UH block, sometimes 6'3", 6'3", 6'3" across the front. Their hitters are like 5'9" to 6'1". And for Hawaii, keep the mo. That's the momentum. They got a big road trip coming up Thursday and Saturday against CSUN and Long Beach State. Will be a tough one.
Meanwhile, UC Riverside strikes first. They come in 5-8, 0-1 in the Big West Conference. They lost their opener to Cal State Fullerton in a 4-set affair. Emily Maglio missing the court wide on her first attempt of the evening. Of course, the Rainbow Wahine dispatched Cal State Fullerton just a couple of nights ago here in this building, as Christy Alejo's serve goes wide and Hawaii now off the schneid. So Noreen Yosia, the reigning Big West Conference Freshman of the Week, will serve for Hawaii. Into the net it goes. So a little bit of Sunday evening rustiness here in the onset of this opening set. Hawaiian FCU starting lineups will be scrolling in the bottom right corner of your screen. Hawaii 10-4 on the year, 3-0 in the Big West Conference, ranked 13th in the country. Here's Nikki Taylor, and she's able to pound that one off of the Terraflex for a Rainbow Wahine point. Nikki Taylor did not have to carry the load the other night against Cal State Fullerton. 8 kills on 21 attempts, plus 5 blocks.
You know what? She didn't mind it at all. She loves seeing the wealth being spread around by Noreen Yosia.
So 2 serving 2. The float serve by McKenna Granado, diving pass by Christina Maeda. And that one into the antenna off of the palm of Michaela Sherman, a 6'1" freshman from Oakley, California, who has had to step up in several different ways in the absence of Fabiana Rosas, the senior, who injured her knee in the 3rd match of the season this year against Cal. One of several knee injuries that have bitten this Highlander squad. Overpass, played off of the ricochet by Hubble. And here's Sherman pounding it through the block. Diving save, Savannah Kahakai. Bump set to Kirsten Sibley. She two-hands it over. Here's Sherman again. The tip blocked back by Nikki Taylor. We got a whistle. And it's going to be a lift call against Riverside. So a point for Hawaii. But yeah, UC Riverside, the injuries, boy, have they made times hard for 4th-year head coach Michelle Patton-Coleman.
Snake bit. 3 knees and a heel. And the heel, I think, still is not healed up.
I see what you did there. The touch over by Meg Graham, 6'2" junior from Agora Hills, California. Gets the point for UC Riverside. There's a look at Dave Shoji. His Rainbow Wahine have won 5 straight, 7 of their last 8. The team checking out the University of Hawaii football game last night. And congratulations to Nick Rolovich, first-year head coach for the Rainbow Warriors, getting the conference opening win against Nevada. How about that for a little header from Emily Maglio?
How about the pass from Savannah Kahakai? Tough, deep serve. Forced Savannah Kahakai back on her heels, almost in the back line. She put it right up to the net on the money.
And it will be Kahakai to serve. 11 digs the other night against Fullerton. She now has 11 double-digit dig matches this season out of just 14 played, and the block was up. That's Annie Mitchum right next to Nikki Taylor.
That's the big block I was talking about, 6'3" and 6'3". That's imposing, to say the least.
So 6 serving 3. That one tickles the tape. Pass tight to the net, little joust up there, bump set, and Sherman off of 1 foot will slap it over. Dug up by Iosia, so bump set goes out to Sibley, and she's able to find the middle of that Riverside floor.
I love the way Sibley played the other night. Hit 368, huge number for an outside hitter. Nice back bump set by Savannah Kahakai. She's getting better and better at that.
Sibley averaging a little over 2 kills per set, providing a lot of contribution from that outside pin position. What a save there by McKenna Granado. Here's Taylor. Hard cross-court hit dug up by Christy Alejo. Sherman from off the net is able to tool the block. An imposing block, but Sherman able to find a way.
That's one of the ways you beat that big block, is you go down the line to chisel the armpits here and just work it down the line, hope to get a hand, and they did. Or hit high, deep corner.
So Chelsea Doyle, the starting setter for UC Riverside, will serve. Probably their best all-around player as Granado. A lot of heat on that one, but a diving save, Maeda. Now Sherman does it again off of Taylor's forearm and down.
And if I'm a coach, I'm going to tell my players, if they hit down the line at least 2 or 3 times, that's the signal. We move the block over toward the antenna, invite them to hit cross court.
Sherman now the top hitter for Riverside, 2.94 kills per set, and a little miscommunication after the service reception on the Hawaii side of the court. So this is what you warn against in a matchup like this, Chris.
Yeah, that miscommunication there, we haven't seen that in quite a while.
It's a 3-0 Highlander run, 6 serving 7. Here's Sibley off the block, and it lands out of bounds, so a point for the Rainbow Wahine.
Sibley, once again, she might get stopped once. She rarely gets stopped twice in a row. That's one of the reasons why Dave Shoja, I think, likes her, because of her consistency. Only hitting a .181 there, as you see, but that number's going to keep going up, is my prediction.
8 serving 6, the always dangerous server, Nikki Taylor. Here's Sherman, blocked back. She'll get a second whip at it by the block. Diving save, Granado over the net. A little pitter-patter above the tape. Now the D-set to Taylor off the block. Good up by Callahan. And a mishandle on the second contact. Credit Brooke Callahan, the 5'11 junior, for keeping that sequence alive, but Peyton Boutwell unable to get the clean second contact, so a point for Hawaii.
Out here. Someone's coming to you.
Getting the good look there, fourth-year head coach Michelle Patton-Coleman. Having to deal with a lot of stress here in 2016 as Taylor's serve is sent long.
She's quite a player in her own right, was Michelle Patton. She assisted at Wyoming before this and in San Francisco State.
Yeah, was a standout setter at Washington, led the Huskies to 3 NCAA tournament appearances. Still ranks 5th in career assists at UW. Left side, the touch shot by Christina Maeda. Good job by Sibley to keep it going. Granado blocked and roofed. The back row swing denied by Boutwell and Maeda.
Not sure this is right where Granado was expecting the set to be. She had to adjust her approach a fair amount there.
It's Sibley, caught it fat, missed it wide, and we're knotted at 9.
You know, I'll tell you, Riverside is doing the 2 things you really need to do to have a chance against this Rainbow Wahine team in this building. Serve tough and play a lot of great defense and bring a lot of balls back.
You'll see a quick middle set. Mitchum is blocked, but it goes off of her and back over the net down on the Riverside.
Does she get a head kill there?
I think so.
I think she does. The rare head kill in the stat column.
The header point for Annie Mitchum. And Hawaii up 1. Calais Greeley now coming in, going up against her hometown institution, the 6'2 junior from Riverside. And she will serve. Backside set. This is Callahan, 2-handed in the air by Kahakai. Here's the D set to Taylor against a double block. And she absolutely blows it by. Nikki Taylor averaging 5.14 kills per set, Chris.
One of the things about Nikki Taylor, she can get the set on the 10-foot line like there and do a lot of things with it. She can also take the 8-foot, 7-foot line. She can jump toward the net a lot more as well. Very versatile as a back row attacker.
How about the one-handed up by Mitchum? Granado unable to put it down. Great dig by Francis Kamandang. Yosia with the swing, but Christina Maeda had other plans.
Maeda's the one who had the heel surgery last spring. Because one of her sporting highlights was winning the CIF championship. She comes from Los Alamitos High School, a volleyball powerhouse in Southern California. Where Jane Croson used to play.
1 point differential here in this opening set and make it now even as Granado sends it long. We're tied for the 4th time here in this opening stanza. And Maddie Hubble will serve. All Big West first team selection last year was tops in the conference in digs. Taylor misses wide. Oh, they're going to give her the touch though. And so it is a point for the Rainbow Wahine.
We could see a battle of liberos tonight between Maddie Hubble, who was all Big West first team last year, and she had more digs than anyone in the league and the highest digs percent at 4.9. She's a good one. She's going up against Savannah Kahakai, who's having a monster year herself.
Here's Granado off the high hands. There is Hubble right on cue. Middle set. Graham was partially blocked. Here's Granado down the line. McKenna Granado, who had a quiet night by her standards against Cal State Fullerton, just 2 kills on 10 attempts, and that's following her monster performance in a couple of road matches last week.
What a great road trip she had. I think Hawaii might not have come back 2-0 without Granado's efforts.
That's served by Claire Marie Anderson, sails long.
A rare error from Claire Marie. She's usually a pillar of consistency.
Yeah, that's just her 3rd service error of the season.
Maybe in 2 seasons. I can't remember her missing last year.
Yes, she had some spectacular runs. There's no doubt about that. Here's Alejo. Backtracking the pass by Greeley. So 2-hand set Kahakai to Granado, and they make it work. A little ad-lib. And Hawaii able to get the job done.
Kahakai, boy, she can play any position. She sets. That ball's deep. I mean, she's almost back to the service line. She puts it right where Granado likes it.
If Savannah Kahakai had it her way, she'd be rotating into the front row and taking cracks as a hitter, too.
And she can. She was good, both at Maryknoll for a couple of years and at Farrington.
Was also recruited by Navy and Ohio. But Dave Shoji and the Hawaii fans very happy that she landed here in Manoa.
What an athlete. She's broken some weight training records also as well.
14 serving 12. Yosia forces the overpass, and she will bump set Granado up the ladder, off the high hands, diving save, nicely done by Alejo, and Hawaii will have a chance here. In transition, backside, Taylor pounds it down, and Hawaii reaches 15 first. So a timeout on the floor. The Rainbow Wahine trying to wrestle with the Highlanders. Welcome back. Series record is sponsored by Aston Hotels and Resorts. Hawaii leading the all-time series with Riverside 19-0. But we mentioned the Highlanders have been able to put up pretty solid fights against the Rainbow Wahine in recent years. Last year, the last meeting, October 30th, in this building, they were able to take Hawaii to 4. And look at the score in that 4th set. It was 25-23, very tightly contested.
Hawaii lucky to get out of the building on that one.
Yosia serving out of the timeout. Outside set goes to Maeda, and forget about it. Return to sender. Emily Maglio next to Nikki Taylor.
Once again, it's that large Hawaii block that causes so many problems for the left side hitters of the opposing teams, no matter who it is.
So here is Yosia, 2nd in the conference in aces percent. Case in point as she deals another in a timeout by Michelle Patton-Coleman. So we'll take a break as well. Hawaii starting to distance itself.
Rainbow Wahine Volleyball on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong and Hawaii Honda Dealers. Welcome back.
Noreen Yosia continues her service run out of the timeout, but it comes to an end thanks to Meg Graham. 6th in the Big West Conference in hitting percentage at .302 coming into tonight's match.
Good connection that time with Graham. Solid, quick set. 2 blockers up. She got around both of them. Great shot.
So it will be Maeda with the serve. It goes deep, played by Kahakai. You'll see a quick middle to Mags. That was well executed, Chris.
It really was. And it's not an easy play. It's a very tough timing set. The center's got to fire that ball up at about 9 feet. Hope that her 6'3" middle attacker will go up and find it and put it down.
So here's Granado, 3rd on the team with 11 aces coming into tonight. Outside, it's Sherman, dug up by Granado. You'll see a backside. Here's Taylor, the tip. Oh, diving one-hand save by Doyle. Sherman from off the net, kept alive by Kahakai. You'll see a middle to Mags again, and again, it results in a Hawaii point. Emily Maglio now 3 kills on the evening.
Love that dig by Chelsea Doyle from Riverside to keep that rally alive. Hitting up her body, keeping the ball going.
Saw what Maglio was doing in conference. 392 overall hitting percentage on the season. Cross-court bump set goes to Sherman, and she pumps it long. So Hawaii gets to 20. And looking to make that final turn here against UC Riverside. Michelle Patton-Coleman wants to stymie that momentum as much as possible. She signals for a timeout. Well, reason to feel pretty good, I'm sure, for those two gentlemen, right? Nick Rolovich, head coach for the UH football team on the right. Athletics director David Matlin celebrating the victory last night over Nevada. For the latest information on UH Athletics, go to hawaiiathletics.com for UH news, tickets, videos, and more. Also, visit UH's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube sites to follow your favorite teams and get current fan promotions. And that's going to be a kill for Kirsten Sibley. You got to love Rolo. He supports all the other programs here on the Manoa campus, coming out to this Sunday evening match for the Rainbow Wahine, wearing the Pride Rock shirt. There was a lot of pride in the stadium last night. That was quite a performance by that UH football team. Heads up play by Maglio to put her arms up. Riverside now on the other side. It's Sherman. Dug up by Kahakai, tight to the net. Knuckled over by Noreen Yosia.
Yosia got lucky there. She kept her feet on the ground. Had she jumped at all, she would have been an illegal back row attacker, and the point would have gone to Riverside, but she was smart enough to keep her feet on the ground.
Speaking of UH football, Noreen Yosia, the first cousin of Jelani Tavai, linebacker for the Rainbow Warriors. Scott Robbs interviewing him after the game last night. What a save there by Savannah Kahakai. Here's Sibley, short jump, dug up by Maeda, but a net violation against Riverside. Point for Hawaii, thanks in large part to the efforts of Kahakai.
How about Kahakai? She just continues to amaze game after game. Dave Shoji said, you know, she's getting good enough to be in that national team conversation.
23 serving 13 into the net it goes. That was the largest lead of this first set for Hawaii. And some smiles coming from the Hawaii side, including from McKenna Granado, who admits this year, her sophomore campaign, she feels a little more comfortable and has been able to approach the game with a little bit more of a lighthearted fashion, which she says has helped her in her performances.
You can tell that she's much more relaxed out there, not looking over to the bench as much, and Dave Shoji's also, I think, lightened up on his criticism of her.
Emily Maglio's not lightening up. She's bringing the thunder each and every time. She pumps it down for another Rainbow Wahine point, and it's Aloha ball here in the first. As you take a look at Emma Smith, freshly inserted into the match. Freshman from Manhattan Beach. And Savannah Kahakai with the serve. 4-1. Outside. And it's put down by Michaela Sherman.
Playing well this first set, picks up her third kill, but she's got 4 errors to go along with it. I think a couple of those were Hawaii, just the block was just too big, too imposing.
So Chelsea Doyle, best scoring server for Riverside, sends it across. She had 19 aces on the year coming in, but how about that? A punctuation mark, courtesy Annie Mitchum. In the middle, her natural position, making her second start at that spot in as many matches. Hawaii takes the first by double digits.
Rainbow Wahine Volleyball on OC Sports is sponsored by Bank of Hawaii, Kaiser Permanente, and Island Air.
Welcome back. Time now for the Fujitsu air conditioning cool play of the match. We can already give this one to Annie Mitchum. Check it out right there. I guess you would call this what, a dome dink, perhaps? She takes the swing, goes off the block, then off her head over the net and down for the kill.
You might see that once a season, maybe twice at the most. Very rare sighting, the dome dink.
Hawaii hitting 375 in that opening stanza. Meanwhile, UC Riverside flatlining it. Rainbow Wahine taking it 25-15. You saw the discrepancy in kills. You're talking about Hawaii tops in the conference in kills per set versus UC Riverside last in the conference.
Hawaii with 17 kills. Riverside with only 5, hitting 0-0-0. Not a good number. Dave Shoji electing to go with the same lineup. I hope he heard, though, in our pregame show, the side set saying, hashtag what? And the hashtag for Ryan Suchi tonight was hashtag AYSO. Ryan Soji would like to see everybody play tonight, everybody in the roster, reward the whole gang for all their hard work this week. And I tend to agree wholly with Ryan Soji there because they got a tough road trip coming up 4 days from now. They've got to play CSUN and then Long Beach State. Everybody needs to be well rested.
Well, how about the block there? Emily Maglio and Nikki Taylor, they had that thing locked up airtight.
Forehands across, good press into the court by Nikki Taylor.
Denying access to Michaela Sherman. Meanwhile, the net denies access to the serve by Noreen Yosia.
You'll see a second error to go along with one ace. It's unusual for her to have two errors. You know, I can't remember in all the matches before this, her having more than one error for the whole night.
Chelsea Doyle now to serve. Three players, I should say, with 4 kills for Hawaii. Maglio, Taylor, and Sibley. And a net violation called against UC Riverside on that Maglio swing.
What a dig by Maddie Hubble. You know, last year she had 32 digs in a match against Cal Davis. So she can dig. She's had 30 digs against Southern Utah this year so far already.
Seeing some new faces in the match for UC Riverside. Here's Brooke Callahan on the slide. Was there a touch? No touch. It goes long, but we may have a challenge here from Michelle Patton-Coleman. And yes, she will deliver the green card to Denise Hansen. By the way, the officiating crew, Brig Beatty on top of the ladder. You see Hansen, who will be reviewing this replay, and the line judges Dean Tamura and Kevin Chun.
And this review, right, because it's so difficult to slow down the ball and the blocker's hands. The ball's traveling really fast at the net. And so to slow it down enough to see a touch is very difficult. We'll see if we can see it here. Oh, looks like a finger got bent back a little bit there.
That would be what I got from that replay. See if this angle helps out.
Sibley. Yeah, I think she got a piece of it. There's a third chance.
Denise Hansen didn't take very long looking at it. And she will reverse it. There was a touch. Right call. And a good challenge there by Michelle Patton-Coleman.
Denise Hansen, quick to make that challenge call. That's the one thing I don't like about the challenge calls is sometimes the officials take a little bit too long, but she certainly was right on it.
So the point goes to Riverside, 2 serving 2. Francis Kamandang with the serve. Back row set, McKenna Granado able to go off of the hands and down. 3 kills now for McKenna.
McKenna, again, smiling, happy. You know, this is also a great set for, I think, for Hawaii. If they're going to have their A-team in to experiment a little bit more with their play sets and the back row attacking from other people other than Nikki Taylor.
That was a beauty from Kahakai on the swing by Callahan. Sibley is dug up, but nobody getting the back of Kamandang. The Long Beach Poly High School product, born in the Philippines, got the first contact, but nobody able to get the second touch, and so Hawaii with the point. And here is Kahakai. She's had a few dandies defensively already here in this match. Bump set high and away goes to Maeda. Forget about it. That was Annie Mitchell getting the gist of that right next to Nikki Taylor.
I'll tell you, Hawaii can put up such a big block. If it's not Mitchum and Nikki Taylor, it's Mitchum and it's it's Nikki Taylor and Maglio. Either way, it's 6-3, 6-3 across the front, and up against the other team's usually strongest player on the left side.
Kahakai missing the court wide. So here is Natalie Rojas, 5'11" freshman from Torrance, California. Got her first action as a Highlander earlier this month against St. Mary's. The swing by Sibley is dug up. Quick middle set, that's Graham. Dug up by Yosia. So Mitchum trying to dink Taylor, and Taylor, the flat-footed attempt, misses wide.
I was surprised that Annie Mitchum took that ball with her hands. I thought she'd bump set it. given the condition of her left pinky and all the padding she's got on there. She put up a pretty good set, just a little tight.
She doesn't have the services of some of the fingers on that left hand. That's why she's able to do that with the right hand as she smacks it down.
It sure seems to be happier there back in the middle. But I would not rule outside putting her out on the left side if necessary.
So 6 serving 4, and here's Nikki Taylor. 3rd in the nation entering the week in aces per set. What a pass by Commandant. Diving save, Kahakai. Sibley is blocked. The swing by Graham sends it long. Was there a touch? No contact. And a point for Hawaii. They dodged a minor BB there, perhaps. But again, Savannah Kahakai just protecting that back line.
Here she is once again coming all the way from back middle. Coming up toward the net. That's a tough play to go that far.
Callahan didn't get it above the tape. So Hawaii now has Riverside doubled up here in the second set.
Go, guys. Keep working.
Nikki Taylor sitting on 4 kills. She's 4 away from taking over 15th place in the all-time kills list for the Rainbow Wahine. And the block was up in a huge way. 3 blockers and Annie Mitchum at the epicenter.
Let's see if Annie Mitchum gets most of this. Looks like there's 3 blockers, and Mitchum does get it. Goes straight down.
Timeout Riverside. Hawaii up a handful. Welcome back. Let's check out the First Hawaiian Bank top 3. This is Hawaii's single match service aces, and the top 2 totals came against your alma mater, Chris McLaughlin, in 1982. Stanford, 16 and 15 for Hawaii. I mean, the references for Stanford this weekend have been somewhat negative, especially with what happened to the football team just a couple nights ago.
And you reminded me about the volleyball team as well, losing to Washington State. Thank you very much, Camille.
That swing by Callahan misses wide, so another point for the Rainbow Wahine. We kid because we love
Maybe we can get the announcer to publicly announce all these things, so that 5,000 more people will get in on the joke.
Pile on, yeah. Here's Mitchum off the block, saved by Maeda. Outside Maeda with the swing, dug up by Sibley. You'll see a quick set on the D position to Taylor, who gets stuffed. Christina Maeda was up on that one.
And Meg Graham as well. Nice play. Riverside playing tough there. Nice little block. Good discipline that time by Maeda. Stayed home.
Serve by Christy Alejo. Slide to Mitchum. Oh boy. She is able to vault high above the top of the tape on that contact.
I think that might have been OTT.
Oh yeah.
Over the top. I'm not positive. Let's take a look and see. The block was well placed, but then the ball just goes over the block. Not much you can do about that, except maybe by a ladder.
Yeah, she's down with OTT. There's no doubt. Calais Greeley will serve. Outside, it's Maeda. Touches it. Kahakai the cover. Slide again to Mitchum. This time goes by the block, straight to the middle of the floor.
So what Annie's doing is she's proving that she can go down the line over the top, and she can cut it back when the line is taken away from her. She can also cut it back across her body and hit it in front of back row diggers. That's some good swinging.
One of the most exciting aspects of seeing Annie Mitchum playing in the middle is her ability to make hitting attempts off of 1 foot. As you can see, the height that she's able to get. Here she is again. That one a little off the net. But the same result, the dig attempt by Hubble winds up out of bounds. And the timeout taken by UC Riverside as Hawaii has built an 8-point advantage. Annie Mitchum taking things over in the second. Welcome back. Let's go inside the numbers presented by Heineken. 0.79 service aces per set for Hawaii's Nikki Taylor. That's 3rd in the country. She's, of course, tops in the Big West. And interestingly enough, Noreen Yosia, her teammate, is number 2 in the conference in aces per set. Outside, Maeda, dug up by Greeley, almost collides there with Kahakai. Two-handed over by Granato. Advantage now for the Highlanders. Graham's dink is dug up by Greeley. Mitchum with the hammer. Great dig, Commandant. Maeda blocked. Has to backstep to slap it over. Diving save on the second touch there by Yosia. We play on. Graham couldn't get it above the tape. And that brings that long sequence to an end in a fairly anticlimactic fashion.
Christy Alejo also with a great dig during that series. Riverside just keeps playing that pesky defense, and Hawaii better not stop till the last ball drops, because I'm telling you, this Riverside team can play some great defense.
Overpass, though. Granado got dug up right on cue by Alejo. Granado a second time. Says dig that. Hawaii on a 10-1 run has gotten to 15 first.
Listen, we talk about distributing the offense by Noreen Yosia. She's got Mitchum at 6 kills, Granado at 4, Nikki Taylor with 4, and Maglia with 5, and Sibley with 5.
Here's Maeda, blocked. Boy, that Hawaii block imposing right now. Maeda the touch, down the line, covered by Taylor. Here's the step out to Mitchum, diving one-hand save. Hubble played off the net by Graham, and another chance here for the Rainbow Wahine in transition. Granado, two-handed in the air by Hubble. Swung over by the setter, Doyle. Chance for Hawaii. Mitchum pounds it down.
She's just taking over. Tom Pestalacci, Hawaii's assistant coach, who's here on sabbatical from Riverside Valley College, has been telling me for several months now, watch her when she gets healthy. Watch her run that slide. She's unstoppable. That's why she was 2-time National JC Player of the Year.
Her career has been about anticipation from the Hawaii standpoint, right? Initially committed to the Rainbow Wahine out of Friendswood High School in Texas, then went the JUCO route, as you mentioned, playing for Tom Pestalacci. That one not touching the floor until it lands out of bounds there, but give that again to Annie Mitchum, showing the dominance and her net value here on this Sunday evening. 17 serving 5. Outside, this is Leanne Newell, and she's able to freshly inserted get the point for the Highlanders.
Another freshman into the lineup. Freshman galore on this team. I believe there's half a dozen but here. 9 of them all together, all newcomers. And the freshmen tend to get a lot of playing time.
Yeah, they have 9 freshmen, 11 total newcomers, but as you mentioned, several of the freshmen not here on the trip because of the aforementioned knee injuries. Yosia sets up Granado up the ladder, dug up by Hubble. She's been impressive. Now from off the net, sent over by Sherman. Taylor will get a crack at it, blocked, played off the ricochet by Yosia, so Kahakai goes outside. Granado dug up. Bump set, Sherman took something off. Kahakai there, the save. High and away. Granado times the jump, curls it into the deep corner.
Maybe McKenna Granado's strongest asset, her arm swing. She can wrist the ball from anywhere and get it into the court. Doesn't really need to touch the block, doesn't need to jump. She can just flat out stand there and wrist it in. It's that great arm swing.
2-time state champ at Punahou in 2012 and 2014. And yeah, the confidence swelling for McKenna Granado because of shots like that. She's starting to add to her repertoire here at the Division I level. Sherman through the block. What a save. Taylor touched over. Outside it goes to Sherman. Blocked back. Hubble the cover. Now the middle set, Graham the dink. Taylor saves it again. Put over on the second contact by Yosia. Now Doyle slaps it across. Maglio in the middle, dug up by Alejo. How about the D on this rally? And again, it comes to an end as Sherman hits it into the twine.
Once again, Christy Alejo playing some great defense.
UC Riverside, we've mentioned their hitting deficiencies, but defensively, they're tops among Big West Conference teams in digs per set, as you see the freshman Natasha Burns inserted into the game for Hawaii.
Bad news for Riverside. Hawaii's block just got bigger.
Yeah.
6'5", Natasha Burns just entered the game.
Right next to McKenna Granado at 6 feet tall, and they're able to deny access against Meg Graham. And Taylor Higgins now checks in place of Noreen Yosia. Yosia receiving a reception upon her exit. Higgins receiving a reception upon her entrance. And an ace dealt out the deck by Gianna Guanasso. That is her 3rd ace of the season. And Hawaii up by 15 here in the second. Jordan Griggs, 6'2", sophomore, transfer from Fresno State, number 17. Sherman, here's Taylor from the back row. Dug up over the net by Alejo. Higgins, D-set, Taylor against a solo block, gobbles it up. 5 kills now for Nikki on 11 attempts.
I think 3 more, she enters into the top 15 of all-time kill leaders. Is that what I heard?
That's correct. She would surpass Kenyatta Lovelace to take over the number 15 spot on the career kills list. Outside, Graham, make that Sherman, excuse me, dug up. Granado up the ladder and down the chute it goes.
Granado's trying to really get in the groove on the outside now. Get that deep corner shot. Now she goes up against a 2-man block and finds a way to wiggle it through.
Another overpass. Burns couldn't put it down, though. The swing on the second, contact by Doyle. An interesting choice there. She misses wide. Point for Hawaii. And the Rainbow Wahine looking to shut the door in emphatic fashion here in this second set.
They're now officially playing as if they're double parked.
Aloha ball here in the second, and it's an ace.
They're in a hurry. I don't know whether they have to go to dinner somewhere. What's going on?
The Rainbow Wahine run away and hide in set 2, 25-6, and they'll poke into the room closet. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the McDonald's match statistics. Obviously lopsided, particularly in that second set, Chris.
It really was. Hawaii on a 20-2 run when they run 25-6, 29-7 in kills. That's huge. Riverside hitting for negative percentage, more errors than kills. Blocks, Hawaii more than doubling up, 8-3. Hawaii out digging as well and out acing. But I think Riverside, in order to get back in this match, if they're going to do anything, they've just got to generate more offense, get more kills. The defense isn't bad. Their passing hasn't been too bad, but they've got to generate more offense.
That was the most lopsided victory in a single set for Hawaii since September 16th. That was the first night against Pepperdine. Also a second set victory by the same score, 25-6. We mentioned Riverside. They're depleted due to injury. Is this just one of those instances where being that physically overmatched is just too tall of a mountain to climb?
Is that a pun? Because Hawaii is too tall as far as Riverside's concerned. Every time their left side hitters look up, they're facing, 6'3" and 6'3", or now they're going to be facing 6'5" and 6'3", because Natasha Burns is going to be playing in this set.
Also have Taylor Higgins out there to start at setter here in set number 3. 2 changes.
Ryan Such and I would like to see 6 changes, but that's okay. Maybe Dave Sheds will get the other 4 in fairly soon.
Chelsea Doyle to serve to start set number 3. Quickly Higgins going to Emily Maglio. In fact, a second time, and the second time was the charm. The middle has gotten so much attention the last few matches, Chris, but particularly here in this homestand this weekend.
Yeah, it was an emphasis by the coaching staff, not only Dave Shoji, but Lindsey Berg as well, saying we've got to develop our middle, got to take pressure off the outside hitters by having a really more of a presence of an attack in the middle.
Nikki Taylor sends the serve long, so a point for the Highlanders. UC Riverside 5-8 overall. Last year they won 10 games. They were 10-19, 5-11, finished 7th in the Big West Conference. The 5 wins in conference were the most since they joined the Big West in 2002, as Emily Maglio continues her onslaught.
You talk about the use of the middles. Hawaii tonight, 19 kills out of, 19 attempts out of the middle, out of 63 swings. And that's a little, right around 33%. They normally set at 15 to 20%. So definitely the numbers are up. The numbers were big last night as well, or Friday night as well.
13th dig for Kahakai. Mitchum playing on the outside, unable to put it down there. The touch by the block and save by Taylor leads to Mags in the middle. The touch shot, though, sniffed out by Maeda. Now right side, it's Callahan dug up by Taylor. We got a net violation, though, called against the Rainbow Wahine. Mentioned some of the changes, not only in terms of the personnel, but Annie Mitchum hitting on the outside. Dave Shoji wants to maintain that as a potential option here going forward, and it could even, as we alluded to the other night, come down to the matchup, depending on who's on the other side of the net.
Exactly. If he's playing a big team, as we see a big swing from Nikki Taylor, he's playing a big team, he might want to get a bigger outside attacker out there.
Higgins will take a swing at it on the second contact. And that rally was all hemma-jang, but it ends up as a point for the Ringo Wahine. Emily Maglio knuckles it down.
It was not a pretty rally, to be sure.
And here is now Natasha Burns coming in as Savannah Kahakai will serve. Great story in the pregame, right, about the strength and conditioning coaches for this University of Hawaii athletic department. The block was up. Somehow returned by Hubble, diving save Kahakai, and then the miss hit by Taylor Higgins. That is an example of what you would refer to in football as playing through the whistle, right?
I'm going to give a lot of credit to Riverside there. That was a great scramble by them.
And Hawaii caught off guard. They thought that that was going down thanks to the block. But nothing doing. Christy Alejo with the serve. Here's Burns in the middle. The paintbrush kill is good. But getting back to the pregame story about the strength and conditioning and the weight room program here at the University of Hawaii, and Savannah Kahakai with the great line, right? Because she has been so stout in some of the squat lifts and some of the deadlift drills, and says that she even outlifts, as she put it, some of the boys. And that definitely fills her with some pride. Oh, boy. That block was massive. Burns and Taylor, 6'5" and 6'4". Good luck with that.
This is big. This is about as big a block as you'll see in the country right there.
Jump serve by Higgins. The block is up again. Natasha Burns, but that time it goes off of the contact and out of play. So Burns getting her fingertips on this match.
Another good reason I think to have Taylor Higgins is get her jump serve back and playing it in game time as opposed to just in practice. You know, she's got to be the third weapon for Hawaii as far as jump servers are concerned.
Burns, oh, that had some heat on it. Natasha Burns, who redshirted last year with a broken hand from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, put in a good smack on that one. A biology major, also played basketball in high school. In fact, won the AAA Ontario title as a hoopster at St. Mary's Catholic Secondary School. Oh, put over. Intelligent play that time by Michaela Sherman. It was Granado the swing. Off the ricochet, Sherman caught Hawaii's nappet.
Smart play by Sherman. Unusual for a freshman to come up with something this savvy. She saw all of Hawaii's players on the left side of the court, so she just put the ball in area one, back in the service area, and got the kill.
Here's Taylor off the bump set by Kahakai, dug up by Alejo. Outside Sherman, down the line. It's worked for her several times here tonight, but that time she extended the radius a little too far, missed the court wide. So Anna Ponce now comes in, and that's always an interesting juxtaposition. You have the 5'3" Ponce entering in place of the 6'5" Natasha Burns.
Mutton Jeff.
You see them standing there as they get ready to switch out. And the pass a little tight to the net. All Doyle could do was try to dump it over, but Emily Maglio said,
Dave showed you giving the DSs a workout. Claire Marie Anderson, Anna Ponce, Baby G Guanasso.
Here's Sherman. Return to sender, says Nikki Taylor.
You know what makes the DSs really good? If they keep their serve in and Nikki Taylor and Mags get the block, they get to stay in and keep serving. I mean, they look really good. The stat line looks good.
And they don't have to do all that digging when the block just makes the play. Pancake save by Higgins. Slapped over by Maglio. Here's Sherman against that double block. Again, works the inside angle. Goes down the line against Nikki Taylor.
I think there was a touch in the block, though. They called it a touch. There's the pancake. I'm not sure she got that. I don't think she got that. There's the touch at the end for the point for Riverside. Even though Michaela has missed that shot several times, I still think it's her best place to go to beat this big block.
Kahakai high and away to Granado, and Michaela Sherman
Tried that one more.
Yeah.
One too many times.
maybe went to the well a little too many times there. Sherman, who hopes to one day become an anesthesiologist, tried to catch Hawaii sleeping again.
Oh, I get it.
Sherman, the touch, punched back over by Emily Maglio. This isn't necessarily the last few sequences, the tape you would send to how to play college volleyball, but it's working for Hawaii. They're up a handful.
Yeah, they get it done in different ways now. The standing fist shot by Maglio is not in your how to play volleyball 101.
They're not exactly working that drill in practice.
Yeah.
And Emily Maglio, that expression, we've said it before, always looks like she's in on a joke that nobody else is in on.
Yeah, but you got to remember, she's a hockey player. You know the culture of hockey players.
That's right.
They're not quite all there, are they?
Here's Sherman. Two hands it over. Backside D set to Taylor. Dug up over the net by Doyle. Kahakai sends it a little bit too tight to the net. Higgins touches it over. Great save on a press row there by Maeda. We play on. Higgins that time tried to dunk it. Doyle, flat-footed swing. The save Greeley. Outside, here's Granado. Can she end the sequence? Yes. Almost mercifully. And so a timeout taken by UC Riverside. Hawaii hasn't doubled up. Welcome back. Let's check out how it works. Presented by Central Pacific Bank. This is Annie Mitchum putting in work, Chris.
But here's her wide slide out to the antenna. She just goes up and over the block. Unbelievable how well she's hitting the ball right now in that slide, even in front as well, but especially the slide. She also can cut it back across her body. Just so effective out there running that slide.
Nikki Taylor serving out of the timeout. Outside, the swing by Callahan. Goes off of the fingers and down. Brooke Callahan.
You know, I asked Tom Pestley, hey Tom, how much time did you spend teaching Nikki Annie Mitchum how to hit the slide? He said, 0. He said, it's just like a basketball layup. I just let her go.
Here's Taylor. Well, if the Annie Mitchum slide is a layup, Nikki Taylor just showed you the fierce throwdown from the D-set position. Annie Mitchum coming back in, replacing Calais Greeley. Nikki Taylor now with 6 kills, so 2 away from taking over 15th place in the all-time kills list. Middle set. And that's Jordan Griggs getting the touch and getting the point for UC Riverside. Played in 19 matches for Fresno State last year before making the move over to Riverside. And she is now back to serve. A Riverside native, so a homecoming, as she went to join the Highlanders squad. Set outside. This is Maeda. That's dug up by Taylor. Outside set to Mitchum. Tried to go over the top of the dig by Kamandang. Maeda again played off the ricochet by Kahakai. Higgins jump set. Mitchum. Oh boy. Diving save by Griggs. Great second touch effort by Kamandang, and we play on.
Let's see if Mitchum gets a third chance. No, she's not going to. Mags is going to get the third swing.
But she missed it wide.
I kind of was wishing that Annie Mitchum would get one more shot because her first 2 swings were really good. Riverside just made better digs.
That's how Riverside is going to hang in matches. There's no secret. They are last in the Big West Conference in blocks. So they will do it with defense. Of course, they lead the league, as we mentioned, in digs per set. And that's how they're going to tread water here in the Big West going forward. Here's Kahakai to serve. Float serve goes at Christina Maeda, and that will belong to Hawaii as a point after the mishandle on the set by Doyle. Going forward for the Rainbow Wahine, another tough road trip in the not too distant future. Long Beach State and CSUN. Before that, though, they'll have, excuse me, CSUN and Long Beach State is this coming week on the road, and that's going to be a very tough one, as you see the slam down by Meg Graham.
It's just 4 days away. This is Sunday. They play CSUN, a very tough place to play against a very good team, a very well-coached team on Thursday night. And 2 days later, they got to face a very hot Long Beach State team at the Pyramid.
Long Beach State coming off of a sweep of UC Santa Barbara. Looking very good. Natasha Burns looking pretty good as well.
Oh, I love that set by Taylor Higgins, running off the net, away from the play, and just fires it back to Burns. Caught the Riverside block completely off guard.
16 serving 10. The block there on the Graham swing. Now Maeda by the double block, saved by Granado. Here's Mitchum, blocked and roofed. Well, they get her. And that was Meg Graham getting the main portion of that roof.
Set a little inside, a little tight. I think Mitchum would do better with a nice high ball. There's lots of air under it where she'd go up and use her 6'3" height to advantage, hit over blocks.
Graham is the top blocker on the team. Here's Taylor. Graham got a piece, but the scramble following that first touch comes up empty for Riverside. So another kill for Nikki Taylor. That gives her now 7. So she is tied with Kenyatta Lovelace for 15th place on the all-time kills list. You know, we were referring, Chris, to the opening road trip for Hawaii at UCSB and at Cal Poly is quite possibly and likely the toughest road trip for Dave Shoji's team this year. But the way things have played out here the last couple of weeks, do you think this CSUN Long Beach State double dip on the road may even be tougher?
I think it's at least as tough and maybe tougher. Those are two very good teams. Two very difficult places to play.
Yeah.
Well, it's a cracker box of a gym. You've been there at CSUN. What's that like? And the Pyramid is just something about being the Pyramid. You know, depth perception is tough there.
Here's Granado. Two-handed in the air by Hubble. Bump set, left side. Sherman hit it into the antenna.
Computer almost got crash burned by error on one of our technicians.
Yeah,
I won't say who it was, but it was an error on the shortstop. I think, was it E6?
The ball came into our area, and let's just put it this way. We did not show forth the defensive effort that Riverside has throughout much of this match here tonight. Our computer almost got taken out, basically, as Riverside unable to scramble again. Maybe that sequence more resembled what it looked like when that errant volleyball came our way just a few moments ago.
Well, the first touch was by Mr. Bello.
Yeah, Pakalani Bello, yeah.
And he basically muffed it.
Well, he's got hands of stone. That has been his reputation for years.
He even admits it, actually.
There he is.
There he is. There's our hero. Yeah. He's all of our stats. He's on the computer, keeps us up to date on everything going on around the country.
Yeah. Timeout. We'll take a break as well. Welcome back to tonight's Jack Fact. Conference domination. Hawaii is a combined 2-18, 32-1. A winning percentage of 85% against teams in the Big West Conference. Riverside, Fullerton, Irvine have never beaten Hawaii. I believe the combined number was 0-88. So our best effort to bocce this particular situation for the Rainbow Wahine, as immediately after the Jack Fact, Riverside scores a point. It will be Chelsea Doyle to serve. Doyle says that one of her favorite musical groups to listen to, it's on her playlist, is Kolohe Kai. So loving some of the local vibes here in the island. Another good dig there by Maeda, and it's a free ball coming for Hawaii. Higgins, backside, Taylor. Took a big crack at it and plays the block for a Hawaii point. And that is number 8, so congrats to Nikki Taylor. The 19th Rainbow Wahine to surpass 1,000 career kills now moves into 15th place on the all-time kills list. She surpasses the great Kenyatta Lovelace. She has more to do for sure. She's not done climbing that ladder.
She will continue to move up the ladder. Lots more matches left.
Kendra Kelsch in to serve for Hawaii. Middle set, that's Griggs dug up. Kelsch back set to the also freshly inserted McKenna Ross, who had to readjust the jump. Now a chance for Riverside, but forget that. The roof by Ross and Casey Castillo.
I think Ross got most of that one. Did a nice job of being stable out there. Posted up a nice sideline block.
Outside, the big windup and swing by Callahan, but Anna Ponce digging lips. Granado is dug up by Maeda. Callahan from off the net, misses it wide. Point for the Rainbow Wahine. Yeah, McKenna Ross, it's like when she's inserted into a match,
good things happen.
Automatically, like instantly.
Uncanny how she makes things happen.
Oh, Castillo showing some metal in the middle as she anticipated that second touch dump shot by Chelsea Doyle. That earlier in the season wasn't necessarily a play Castillo was ready for. She was prepared there.
She's done an amazing job this year.
Two-hand save by Ponce. So Kelsch sets up Granado, blocked, kept alive by Emma Smith. Granado a second time blocked. Smith again covers. The middle set to Castillo. This sequence goes on. Callahan by the double block. Saved by Smith. Kelsch backside to Ross. Into the net it goes. How about the youth movement on the floor here for the Rainbow Wahine, Chris?
Yeah. It showed you unafraid to put lots of that D team out there on the floor. I knew Kelsch was going to go back to McKenna Ross there. She's the only one who had not gotten a set during that rally.
Kelsch, the junior, and Anna Ponce, the senior, the only upperclassmen on the floor for Hawaii right now. Outside, here's Ross. Dug up over the net. She gets the first contact. Little collision there, but Kelsch sets up Ross a second time. Dug up by Commandant. How about the fight in these Riverside Highlanders? Now Granado from the opposite position puts an end to that sequence.
It's out.
And they will say that it was out and no touch. And Dave Shoji quickly grabs the green card. I beg your pardon, I made the automatic call thinking that there was a touch there, but it was not the final decision and ruling. So Dave Shoji is going to challenge. He jumped out of his chair to grab the green card.
Looked at it like there might have been a touch at the block. Could have also been a touch in the back row. I'm not sure which one it was. I'm not sure which one he's asking for. Maybe he's just asking for a general touch. But I think it's the one on the block.
Stick around for the Heineken postgame show coming up right after the match as our side set crew, the corner crews, Scott Robbs, Lisa Strandma'a, and Ryan Kalei Suji break down all of tonight's highlights and stats, and they usually get you a good interview, some reaction from one of the participants as well.
No touch there. At least I did not see one in that particular replay. No fingers get bent back. It looks.
That right hand by number 24, Leanne Newell, would be the hand in question. But I don't know if there's anything that can...
It's not bent back at all. I didn't see her fingers bent back. Watch her right hand, number 24's right hand. Fingers bent back. No.
Not sure if there's enough there to overturn it. That becomes the complexity of this.
I'd be very surprised if it gets overturned.
Denise Hansen, she has her work cut out for her here, but she's going to make a call. And it will hold up.
Dave Shoji holds up both arms and says, what, we can't get a break around here?
Well, if it's any consolation, Dave, I was fooled as well. A point for Riverside.
He's in good company there?
Yeah, I'm sure that'll make him feel better, right? 15 serving 23. Offense now for the Highlanders. Outside, it goes to Newell. Down the line and in.
A little offense for the Highlanders right there.
Prior to that kill, they were hitting -0.96 for the match.
And Newell going down the line, staying away from those big middle blockers of Hawaii.
Pounce with the pass. Kelsch, backside, Granado, high hands, and down. And they will rise here at the Stamp Sheriff Center. Aloha ball. And Hawaii trying to put the cap on quality weekend here in the islands for UH sports. UH football team getting a victory over Nevada last night at Aloha Stadium. Hawaii trying to sweep this two-match homestand. Claire Marie Anderson serving for the match. Outside, it goes to Newell. Diving save, Anderson. Mitchum, unable to finish. Set goes outside. It's Newell again through the block. Mitchum laid out, but to no avail. And they'll have to stand a little bit longer.
It's offense from the Highlanders coming a little bit too little, too late.
Got a quick substitution here by Michelle Patton-Coleman. She will bring Mallory Marcus, 5'7" sophomore from California, on to serve. The chance of let's go Bows. Diving pass by Anderson. The set goes to Ross. Pick up in the back row by Commandant. Right side, it's Callahan, blocked en route. And that's how this one ends. Casey Castillo and Annie Mitchum rising to the occasion. And Hawaii beats UC Riverside in sweeping fashion. E kahi, e lua, aloha. We'll be back. Welcome back. There's your overall record for the Rainbow Wahine. 11-4, now 4-0. And in first place at the Big West Conference, Scott Robbs has Dave Shoji.
Thanks a lot, Konal. Well, Coach, I thought Riverside played really hard, but you guys were just outmatched. They were outmatched by you guys.
Well, I look across the net. I told Jeff, you know, we were 6'5", 6'4", 6'3" across the net at some point, and they probably don't have anybody over 6'1". So obviously size matters, and, you know, we can be very big when we want to be big.
Hey, you know, one thing you did again tonight well, I thought, was the distribution, pretty even with the outsides and the middles. You have to be happy with the way your offense is playing.
Well, you know, we need to be a little diversified. You know, in the pinch, Nikki's going to get the ball, but, you know, up until that point, we should spread it around. We want her fresh at the end of the game, so that's the reason. Another reason we want to spread it around and, you know, let everybody get involved in the offense.
Okay, now you head back out on the road. Kind of a short week. It's a Sunday. Play Thursday at CSUN, Saturday at Long Beach State. What are your guys' plans between then and now?
Well, we have to take tomorrow off, so we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday here, play Thursday. Northridge is very much improved, and Long Beach is playing very, very well. They swept Santa Barbara and Cal Poly this week, so this will be a challenging road trip for us, but we're looking forward to it.
Best of luck, Coach.
All right, Scott.
All right, guys, back over to you.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Let's take a look at the Bank of Hawaii players of the match. Meg Graham, 5 kills, 2 blocks for UC Riverside. Also hit 118 for the match. And Savannah Kahakai, 14 digs. She now has double-digit digs in all but 3 matches for the Rainbow Wahine here this season. Emily Maglio was high hitter for Hawaii, 9 kills, hit 438. Kirsten Sibley, an efficient night, 5 kills, 444. It's just like pick your name out of the hat, and at least in the last 2 matches, they've all had pretty efficient nights offensively.
Well, Hawaii signed it out at 77% the first night on Friday, and tonight I think they signed out at 75% tonight. If you sign out more than like 67, you're going to win pretty much every match. So Hawaii being very efficient this weekend, as you say. And the offense, I love the way the offense is being spread out.
Things will be a little more challenging for sure, though, on the road here this week. You heard Dave Shoji talk about it with Scott. CSUN, Long Beach State. How does Hawaii approach this week?
Well, the only question I have is that Dave said, you know, we have to take tomorrow off by NCAA rules. They got to take every 7 days. They got to take a day off. He said, well, we'll practice here tomorrow and Wednesday, and we play CSUN on Thursday. I said, I'm thinking to myself, are they gonna take the red eye on Thursday night and then play CSUN on Thursday night? I don't know. It's going to be, I think they're going to leave on Wednesday I think. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. But it's like the short week concerns me, to be honest with you. And the fact that CSUN's a good team, well coached by Jeff Stork, and they're having another good year. And the one that really bothers me is the one on Saturday against Long Beach State. That's going to be tough.
Sure. I mean, those are rivalries, certainly Hawaii and Long Beach State, that go back many, many years. So the latest chapter will once again be upon us.
I'm just glad we didn't have enough time tonight to really talk about how the Lions did against the worst team in the league in the NFL this year. Luckily, we didn't have time for that. We got to go to the science set, I think.
You're right. We should probably wrap it up with that for sure. Thanks a lot, Chris McLaughlin. Always good for a pep talk. That's it for us. For Chris, I'm Kanoa. Don't forget about the Heineken post-game show. I'm going to go lick my wounds, kind of like the Stanford Cardinal football team. See you next time, everybody.